So the Mission 1 Pro, the latest camera from GoPro, now there's been a lot of talk about this camera's higher end capabilities. So we've got that new 1-inch sensor, 8K capabilities, even crazy things like 960 frames per second, 40x slow-mo. But what I wanted to know is it any good for a vlogging camera? So we're starting things off right in the action. I'm testing this in its most basic crude form. I've got no microphone, I've got no selfie stick. This thing is just on 4K 30 frames per second. I do have hypersmooth enabled and I do have horizon lock on. So really I'm testing this thing in its most basic way with just the run and gun, get out of your pocket, click the button and record. And I want to see if that sets the standard for what comes later on, because there are a bunch of features on this thing that should make the vlogging experience a lot more interesting. But let's see how that goes. Hola. Me interesa una de las plantas que tienes fuera, la planta alta. ¿Pero cuánto es?
20 euros. Así, ahora pongo bolsa por lo bajo.
Ya, hasta luego. All right. So we're on vlog level 2, which means basically I have the microphone connected, although it's somewhere behind this plant, and I have the GoPro on a selfie stick. So yeah, we're a little bit more advanced. We're introducing new equipment to improve the vlogging experience of this Mission 1 Pro, and now I've still got it on the same settings, 4K linear 25 frames per second. I've got hypersmooth on. And I would say this is kind of really where you want to be. If you're going to be vlogging with this camera, this is a really good starting point. Now there are a lot more, so I've got to be careful. It's really tall, this plant. Now there are some more advanced settings that we can get into. So we can talk about 10-bit and color profiles and stuff like that, which we will do later on in the video. But yeah, if you want to do your sort of most fundamental walking with the plant vlog style post, then this is where you're going to start, these sort of settings. And in case you're wondering, it's a DJI mic I've got connected. So we've got a DJI mic 3 and it's just on a regular little GoPro selfie stick. But for now, this plant is sticking, it's got thorns and they're sticking into my chest. So yeah, I'm going to get this home and then we'll look at something a little bit more advanced. So if we're talking about different levels of vlogging on the Mission 1 Pro, then I won't say this is level 3 yet. So we had level 1, which is just using the camera, holding it in your hand. And then we had level 2 when you connected the microphone. Even though I'm wearing a microphone, I'm not actually using it at the moment because for reasons that will come clear shortly. But the reason why I'm recording this section in just regular 4K 25, regular video mode in the menu, is because there is actually also a specific vlog mode. Now that makes a few subtle differences which should improve your vlogging experience. But the first one is that the audio, on-camera audio, becomes more directional, so it's going to sort of focus on what's in front of it. So really this is just a way to test the general audio. This is bog standard GoPro onboard audio, and when I do this, we switch into vlogger mode, and this is now apparently with the directional microphones. Now obviously the point of that being that if you don't have a microphone like this, you can still get a little bit better audio with what's built into the GoPro. All right, so I've connected the microphone again, so we should be back on good proper audio. Now this vlogger mode, there's basically, as far as I can tell, 3 principal things which are designed to make it superior for vlogging. Now you have that directional audio which I was just demonstrating, but now obviously I've upgraded to the microphone. The second feature that makes this more vlog friendly is that it has subject tracking turned on by default, which is not on by default in other modes. So this is pretty good. So obviously if you're walking and talking and you're gently moving the camera side to side, it's going to do a little adjustment to keep you a bit more in the center of the image. Now this is I think actually really helpful, because a lot of the time when I'm doing vlog style posts, I'm holding the camera like I am now on a little selfie stick. It's very easy, especially if you're looking where you're going while you're talking to the camera, to sort of let your arm drift, and next thing you know, only your ears in shot or something like this. So I actually really appreciate having a subject tracking on this camera for vlogging. It's an absolute treat. Now don't expect performance like you might on a gimbal camera, something like the Osmo Pocket 4, because that thing can just rotate 180 degrees and it's actual rotating the camera, whereas what's happening here on the Mission 1 Pro is it's using the sort of extra headroom in the sensor to keep you in the center of the frame. So yeah, there's a vlog mode, and it has 3 specific things, which is the directional microphone, the subject tracking, and face tuning. And it's nice to see that vloggers get our own mode now. So I've put this selfie stick on full extent, because let's go into actual full vlogger mode. So if we're doing levels and we had level 1 and level 2, then sure, let's say this is level 3, probably the top level that you're going to get on this GoPro Mission 1 Pro, because I've got it on a selfie stick, I've got a decent microphone connected, and it's in vlogger mode. So it's optimized at a video level as well. And that's about as good as it's going to get with this camera. You can obviously fine tune it if you have specific requirements. So maybe for you there are ways to improve it. But in terms of get this out of the bag and go vlogging, yeah, this is the setup that you're going to want to have. Now, it's nice to see GoPro actually paying some attention to vloggers, because from memory, I don't think we've had our own vlog mode before. So GoPro's officially acknowledging the existence of vloggers, even though they've been a big market for the company, obviously, for a long time. So yeah, we finally made it, guys. We've got our own preset on the top level menu, even though if it is one of the ones you have to activate, it's not actually on by default. I can see Woody from Toy Story. He must be hot because it's quite warm today. Now, as best I can determine from what the company's saying, is that yes, we are going to get more Hero Blacks. It's not an official word, but they have strongly, well, they basically said that the Hero Black line is not dead. So I think what we're seeing here is that the Mission 1, there's like a fork in the road, if you like, and whereas the Hero Black was getting bigger and more bloated and more feature rich to kind of cater for a wider variety of filmmakers, so people that true action sports people, their core market, vloggers, and then even filmmakers who use it for B-roll or awkward different types of shots. Now they're sort of acknowledging that they've reached the sort of end point of where that's viable in one camera. So I'm just going to rotate because you've got this nice thing in the background. So it's no longer really viable, because you're trying to make this action camera do a little bit of everything for everyone. So the Mission line separates that into sort of more of a filmmaker focused camera, which is better for its vloggers as well. So there's more resolution, more flexibility, more cinematic modes and things like this. Someone's busted out the saxophone. So yeah, good news for filmmakers and vloggers. They kind of get their own subsection of the cameras now, which is the Mission 1 series, or the Mission series. So I presume the next one would be the Mission 2. So vlogger mode is cool, but what about some more practical considerations? The first thing a lot of people are going to ask is, does this overheat? Now, it's not a problem I've necessarily had with GoPros, but I know it's a problem that some people have had with GoPros for the last couple of models. So obviously it's something that they're pretty sort of anxious about. Now, was I originally going to test it for this vlogging video? No, I wasn't, because generally if you're outdoors, you're moving the camera, the overheating issue doesn't apply. But I accidentally tested it because when I got on a train recently for a 2-hour journey, I'd accidentally started the thing recording without knowing it. I'd wrapped it up in a jacket and I left it by the side of me for the whole 2-hour journey. It was only at the end of that journey when I started to get my jacket out, I got the camera, it was in a metal cage, and I was like, wow, this cage is warm. And I realized the camera had actually been recording while wrapped up in a jacket in a non-ventilated environment for 2 hours, and it was still going. So does it overheat? At least not in that situation, and that's a pretty good test of it. And also that brings me on to battery life. So it managed to record basically a 1 hour and 20-minute 4K video without stopping, and I think the battery was down to about 5% by the time I got there. I had been using the camera a little bit before it accidentally started recording, so battery life is looking pretty good. But then this brings me on to maybe one of my favorite secret features about this camera, not secret but less spoken about features, which is rapid charging. So I was going to a meeting and I needed the camera after I'd accidentally left it recording for 2 hours. So once it had cooled down, I give it sort of 5-10 minutes to cool down, I plugged in USB fast charging battery, and this thing charges super fast. Just in a couple of minutes, I got it back up to sort of 35-40%. I can't remember what it was. I was like, this is not like any other GoPro I've seen before. So this thing will recharge fast. This video, this one you're watching right now, this part is shot in 8K. Now I don't have a practical use for it. There's not a lot of times when I'm thinking, oh, actually I really want to be able to shoot this in 8K, because you're going to get like a very large file and things get a little bit sort of harder to manage. But I can imagine that obviously if you want to shoot something and then have a little bit more headroom, so you want to sort of zoom in a bit and don't want to lose too much quality, theoretically I could zoom this video in twice and still being able to get 4K quality. So there is some usefulness to it for vloggers, but it's not something that I've been using. If you do want to shoot a lot in 9:16, the way the camera's set up isn't necessarily the best for that, especially for vloggers, because when you put it in 9:16, if you have a cage mount in 9:16 in portrait mode, they have a tripod mount point there, which is great, but this is also the plate that would cover the USB port where you would want to put a microphone. So if you have an external microphone and you want to shoot in 9:16, it's a little bit of a problem. Now, the only way I found to do it reliably is to have a tripod like this one that lets you do mount sideways, and then you can have the camera, then you can mount into the regular mounting plate on the GoPro, but in portrait mode. But not every tripod does have this one, so it does go as perfectly 90 degrees like this. So it's a minor inconvenience, but it's something you're going to be aware of. And if you want to use a USB microphone, something like this, or actually like this, a DJI Mic 3, you can plug it in, but it depends how wide the USB port on the microphone is. So for example, or how long rather, this receiver does not work. It's just not quite long enough to reach into the GoPro's USB port. You can kind of make an extension lead and it will work, but yeah, it's not going to fit neatly. The DJI Mic 3 receiver does fit neatly into the thing, so you can definitely use that with it as well. So I love that USB microphone support is here, especially for vlogging. It's one of the key features. There is 32-bit float audio on this, which is kind of useful, but in my testing it only seems to apply to the internal microphones, which are obviously the microphones which aren't quite as good. What you can do is you'll get 4 channels, so 2 stereo channels, the plugged in USB microphone, and then the camera's own built-in microphones, and you can have all the recordings at once, and it's actually quite useful. So if you've got someone on a wireless microphone speaking further away, you can have someone near the camera and both of those people can be heard, or you can have the person speaking on camera and then you can have ambient noise recorded from the camera as well. So say the camera's near like a racetrack, but you're doing commentary further away, that's something you could do. And it's kind of useful as a little bit of a backup. I was recording a vlog for this video and I forgot to turn on the DJI receiver, but it was still recording on the internal microphones, and you'll still get those recordings, which could actually be a bit of a lifesaver. It's been exciting to see what GoPro is going to do with the Mission 1 Pro, and now that it's here, there is a lot that I really like about this new camera. Now, I do feel that when we were seeing the images coming out and they were coming from the ILS, it's kind of whetted our appetite for that style of content, or certainly in my case. But with the Mission 1 Pro, it's a lot more of a sort of straight GoPro with a lot more pro features. So you really need to frame it like that. But it is a fantastic camera. It's a little bit more expensive than normal, but it's going to do a lot more than what your Hero 13 can. So depending where you sit on that Venn diagram is obviously going to be deciding whether it's the camera for you or not. But either way, I hope you enjoyed the video. Please do like and subscribe and get out there and go create.